What if I told you the stories you tell are a part of your brand people will remember, even when they might forget everything else? When I started my business, I didn't know that. I thought if I got the logo, the colors, the website all right, then clients would come pouring in. But even with all the right pieces in place, I wasn't attracting the right people. What changed everything? I started sharing stories. Not to go viral, not for the algorithm, but to connect and attract the people I was truly meant to serve. Because when you start telling the right kinds of stories, your content shifts from just being seen to being felt. You stop sounding like everyone else. You start building trust with your people. And you know what the best part is? You already have those stories. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Shawan and I help women entrepreneurs build brands they love. Here on the channel, I share branding and business tips as well as take you behind the scenes in my journey as an entrepreneur. If that sounds like the kind of community you're looking for, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a thing. And if you find value in today's video, give it a big thumbs up, click that like button. It really helps to support the channel. All right, let's dive in. So I first discovered the power of storytelling back when I was a wedding photographer. At the time, I was focused on taking beautiful photos and sharing them online after every wedding. I'd post photos on Instagram or Facebook and maybe write a few kind words and wait for the likes and comments to come in. I would wait and wait and wait. And sometimes there were a few clicks, but I understood and I felt that something was missing. The photos were beautiful, but the connection, not so much. Then one day I tried something different. Instead of just posting beautiful photos, I started to tell the couple's story. I started to share and write about their journey, how they met, the way he looked at her, the moment that she was walking down the aisle. There were those quiet moments also before the ceremony, sometimes happening with the dad before he was walking his daughter down the aisle. And then there were just those fun moments with all of the people that had played a pivotal role in their lives. Maybe it was a moment with grandma dancing on the dance floor at the reception. I just started to tell stories about their day, and I was very intentional about that. And so with that, the posts that I was now sharing, they not only got likes, but they started to encourage responses. Couples would leave comments about, what it meant to them to see their photos alongside the story of their day. Sometimes even with the stories, I would pop in some of the reception toasts from the best man or the maid of honor. I would put in some of that story too. So really it was about creating connection through story and giving the photos more meaning than just me showing up for a wedding day and creating beautiful photos. I would also get messages from parents. Those were my favorites because they enjoyed these stories too, right? I got messages from friends and families. They would leave comments like, oh my gosh, this brought tears to my eyes, or I feel like I was there all over again. And in these moments and receiving these comments, I realized people weren't just connecting to the images. They were connecting to the emotion, the story behind the day, the people, the moments, the couple, and all of the things, all of the people that mattered to them from their wedding day as they would swipe through the photos of a post. That's when it clicked. It wasn't just about the work. It was about sharing the meaning behind it. That shift, that moment when I saw how powerful storytelling really is, has never left me. Oh my gosh. And I'm always mindful of that. So you can find me writing down vignettes of stories to tell, maybe in my notes app on my phone or in my Remarkable Pro with my journal. I will jot down just little vignettes of stories that I want to remember. and maybe use them later to add value in posts that I'm sharing and other things too. It's really shaped the way that I work today, even as a brand photographer and in my work with my on-brand, on-purpose clients, because it's not just about content, it's about connection. And when your brand tells the right story, people feel it. They trust you. They remember you. Stories are so memorable, right? And most importantly, when they hear these stories, they also connect them to you, and they will essentially choose you many times because of the stories that you shared. And there are three kinds of stories that I've seen make the biggest difference for myself and for the women I work with. The first story is your why story. So think about why you started, right? Why do you do the work that you do? And this story doesn't have to be dramatic. It's simply about you telling your story, your why, your way, and your why story helps people to feel something. It's not going to be someone else's story, right? It reveals the heart of your business, your purpose, your values, and your genuine desire to serve. It shows that you care about more than just whatever the final product is for you and your business. When I was a wedding photographer, that final product were the photos. And that final product is whatever it is that you offer to your clients. You care about the people you get to work with. You believe in the transformation your work creates. And you're not just showing up for attention, you're showing up with intention. That kind of story, your why story, being rooted in empathy and purpose, is what draws in the right clients. Not just because of what you offer, but because of who you are and why you do it. And let me know in the comments if there is more than one person who does what you do. I'm sure that there are, right? There might be a million other people doing exactly what you do, but at the end of the day, no one else has your story. No one else carries your exact values, your experiences, or your why. That's what makes you memorable. That's what makes you magnetic. And I want to add here, don't just tell your story once, tell it often. Not because people forget what you do, but because your story reminds them why you are the one they want to work with or that they want to refer. Now let's talk about the second story. The second kind of story is what I call the experience story. These are those everyday, ordinary moments that stick with you, and they shape how you see the world. Now, for me, I'm in New England, so it's gardening season for me. I'm so excited, and I know that I'm going to have a ton of stories coming from my experience of digging in the dirt, watering my flowers, my plants, and pulling weeds out too. Those give me stories. One quick story that comes to mind is the time I planted some zinnia seeds. Even though I wasn't sure I'd missed this window of the season to plant them. I didn't know if they take, I didn't know, I'd never grown zinnias, and I really wasn't sure if they would grow. But you know what I did? I planted them anyway. For days, I would go out, I would check in my little spot where I planted them, there was nothing there. And I started to doubt, like, okay, maybe I did miss this season, this window of time that I had to plant them and get them started. And oh my gosh, I was like, okay, I'm not sure about this. But then one morning when I went out to check my little spot to see if I would see anything, there they were. Tiny green little shoots breaking through the soil. And it reminded me, growth is often happening long before we see the results, long before we see the tiny little shoots coming out of the ground. Just because it's not visible yet doesn't mean it's not working beneath the surface. That's how business feels sometimes. You're showing up, planting seeds, doing the work, and wondering if anything's really happening. But the roots are forming, the process is unfolding, and your job is just to keep watering, keep checking, keep going to your spot, keep nurturing, and keep trusting the season you're in, and wait for the blooms to show up in their own time, in their own way. More beautiful than you imagine. Now that's still one of my favorite stories to share. And it's just from a simple, everyday, ordinary moment. And it's one of the reasons why, as a personal practice, I write down my stories and lessons from the day. Whether it's a gardening moment, I'm working with a client, something someone said, or even a quiet moment that made me pause and write it down. Then I'll ask myself, okay, how does this relate to my life, my business, maybe my clients? Because I'm always looking for the story within the experience to add value and connect as I share content in different ways. And it doesn't matter if I'm speaking on a stage, writing an email, or sharing social media content. I don't want to just post random tips. I really want to share meaningful content. I want to speak from what I've lived because that is what creates connection. That's the kind of story also that no one else can replicate. And that's what makes it real. That's what makes it your own. And I want to hear from you. Does the idea of storytelling from everyday life resonate with you? Drop a yes in the comments if you've had a recent lesson or an aha moment that you can share. The next kind of story is a transformation story. This is when you get to share how someone changed or got an outcome they desired through working with you in a way that shows what's possible for the person who's reading or listening to this story. This might be my favorite kind of story to tell because seeing a transformation in my clients is why I do what I do. It's why you do what you do, right? Whenever a story lands in my email inbox or a client leaves a review, I'm so excited to share it. And the reason is because I know that when my dream clients hears those stories, something will click for them. They'll stop scrolling. They start imagining, what if this could be me, right? They can see themselves in that transformation story. That's the moment your story meets their belief and helps them to see what's possible. And that's where connection through that story turns into conversion. So tell those stories not to brag. I know that you are amazing, but you're not telling it to brag in any way and not to sell, but to serve. Because someone in your audience is waiting for a transformation. The story you share might be the one that helps them believe what's possible for them and then hire you to help make that happen. Now, here's what I want you to do next. Think back to a recent moment in your life or business that taught you something. Maybe it made you pause, shift your perspective, or take a step forward. I want you to write it down and then ask yourself, what did I learn? How could this help someone else? Then find one simple way to share it this week. Maybe it's a post, a story, an email, but you get to choose. If you want more branding and business tips, be sure to watch the video on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.